This podcast is brought to you from Grantwood AEA, an educational service agency that supports school districts in eastern Iowa with a focus on equity, excellence, and efficiency in education for all children.
Welcome to episode 59 of the EdTech Takeout. My name's Jonathan Wiley.
Oh, hi.
Joined by an...
You missed the... Wait, hold up now. You totally... Are you to the point now where you're like, we've done 4 podcasts in a month. I'm just going to skip the traditional introduction. Is that where we are now?
I think that's where we are.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. I'm Mindy Carney.
Hey, Mindy Carney.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. All right. 4th episode of the month.
Yes.
Creativity.
This one's a little delayed, but we have a good excuse.
Really?
Remember?
Not really.
Well,
They don't know it's delayed.
We were going to record this one last week, and I have been releasing these on the Monday of all
you haven't.
the weeks.
I guess I
So
don't listen to the podcast. So.
Yeah. Well, you get it firsthand, live and in person.
First time around. Yeah.
So weather, basically, wasn't
Yes,
it?
weather. We were home again.
More crazy weather. Another snow day.
Another snow day.
I think our schools have had, 11 or 12 snow days now?
12. I think I saw one of our school districts had 12. Yes. Maybe 13.
So,
it's a lot.
Summer school for everybody.
Yes, not me. All right. So, in case you're just hopping in, first episode of the EdTech Takeout, this month we are doing 4 special episodes, each episode revolving around one of the 4 C's. Our last one for this month is creativity. And the reason we're doing this is because the digital learning team wanted to celebrate Digital Learning Day, which is actually right around the corner. That's Thursday, right? February 28th. It's Digital Learning Day, but we decided to have a Digital Learning Month because we can. And so we have been celebrating the 4 C's all month long.
We have, yes.
Yeah.
And this is our last one, which is creativity.
Right. So in case you're wondering what Digital Learning Day is, there is a official Twitter handle you can follow, which is @officialdlday. You can also follow the hashtag DLDay. And we are using hashtag DLGWAEA to share all of our resources for the month. So you can definitely search for that hashtag and follow along with us or catch up with us if you are just getting to it now. You ready?
I am ready for news and follow-up.
Okay.
And I thought we'd start with, I think we should do this more often. I feel like our team write good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was reading Beth and Corey's blog post for last week, which was on the theme of critical thinking. And I thought it'd be worth linking to it in the show notes and highlighting it because she said, like we do, people often gravitate towards PBL as one of those things that you start with for critical thinking.
Sure.
But I think she did a really nice blog post on questioning and how that relates to critical thinking. And we had a speaker here at Grantwood recently called Weston.
Called? That's what we call him.
Called.
Named. His name was.
We had a speaker at Grantwood recently, and his name was Weston. Help me with his last name.
Keshnick?
Could be. But Weston, very intelligent guy.
Yeah. Author of Bold School.
Author of Bold School,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
And one of the things he said was that the average questions asked by a teacher every day is like in the hundreds, like 300 to 400.
Yeah.
And the average number of questions asked by a student was 1.8.
Wow, that ratio does not seem correct, does it?
And most of those might be, can I go to the restroom or something like that? So, so Beth talked about that ratio and how we instill a culture of questioning in the classroom and what that looks like, ways that we can encourage our kids to ask more questions. Because when you're asking questions about things, you're thinking about things on a deeper level and trying to process things in different ways. So we can definitely link to Beth and Corey's blog post to let you guys take a look at that because lots of great ideas of practical things you can do in the classroom to encourage critical thinking.
Yeah, and I think they did a nice job too of one of their posts this last week was just kind of maybe tallying how many questions are you asking a day and how many questions are students asking. And we actually had a pop-up Twitter chat last month on our snow day because we were all home, which was super fun. And I know we've mentioned Andrew Fenstermaker before, but he mentioned that he was going to do that. They have a swivel, which is you plug an iPad into it, and it rotates. You are laniered, and it the camera follows whoever's talking. But he said he thought that was a good idea that they had posed in his coaching conversations, as they were going to use that swivel, and it would give them time to kind of reflect on how many questions the teacher was asking and how many questions the students were asking, which I thought was a good connection to that too.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about your pop-up Twitter chat? It was your idea, Mindy.
Well, we had a pop-up Twitter chat. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
All our schools basically were closed for the day,
all of them.
And we thought we'd give the teachers an opportunity to have a kind of impromptu, on-the-spot Twitter chat.
Yeah.
And Mindy came up with some questions, and we had some good engagement. I think people joining in, some good conversations, good ideas people had. Yeah. People from our area and a little bit wider too.
Yeah, and hopefully there's no more snow days for the rest of the year. So.
Yes.
It was a one-time gig.
Hopefully not.
Until next winter, maybe.
I think we're probably going to get some flooding or something with all the snow we've had.
It's not going to be good. Up next, what do you have here? ReadWorks is creating richly illustrated ebooks from a collection of high-quality reading passages.
Yes.
What's up with this?
So ReadWorks is one of the services I like to show teachers if they've not seen it before. I think it's a great service. It gives you different level text. Right. It has audio versions of text. It has comprehension questions that go along with text. It has vocabulary things that go along with text. And they have come out with this ebook gallery here, where these are picture books. They're kind of aimed at K2, K3 kids. Some of them are a little bit older. Oh, I'm scrolling down the bottom here. There's some that go up to 3-6, so definitely some higher ones too. And these are just ebooks with human voices that go along with them. There's vocabulary questions that you can... vocabulary that goes along with each book, so you can talk about. So I'm looking at the American bird right now, and this one, there's 2 vocabulary words. One is bald eagle and one is nest, and you can have the vocabulary words read aloud, defined. You can see images related to the word. You can see examples as well. They have question sets, and then they have the ebook as well that you can play on a smartboard or on a student device. So I think this is just a nice kind of spin on the work that they do, which is largely like text-based stuff, but this is like picture book stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's good.
Opens it to a wider audience.
I can't remember. Is there a price point on ReadWorks?
ReadWorks is free. It is all funded by like donations and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
And you can create like your own classes and stuff within ReadWorks, right?
You can,
and assign those books and
yes, assign different books to different kids or different groups of kids and differentiate some of those texts. So good stuff.
Good. All right. And you shared this tweet that now Minecraft has created kind of like a 3rd grade math curriculum, right? To go along with Minecraft.
Yeah, I saw this on the Minecraft Education Twitter account.
Yeah.
They now have a collection of over 30 activities that include lesson plans, rubrics, student worksheets, and more. These are standards-aligned math lessons to support 3rd grade students. So I can provide a link to those in the show notes for everybody that wants them. But yeah, they do split it up into like Common Core standards, like operations and algebraic thinking, numbers and operations, fractions, base 10, measurement and data, and just different ways that you could use Minecraft to help meet those objectives. Now, I'm going to guess if you have your normal lesson on how you meet those objectives and how you have Minecraft meet those objectives, your students are probably going to want to do the one that's with Minecraft.
Yeah,
but
lots of creativity involved.
I think there is, yes. So if that's an option for you, if you have access to Minecraft or you're thinking about getting access to Minecraft education, and you teach 3rd grade, it's kind of a narrow niche here. We're getting narrow. Then check those out. 3rd grade teachers.
Well, and who knows? I mean, maybe they'll come out with some other grade levels yet too. It might be a little bit about how much it gets used as well.
I feel like it's going to be like a trial kind of thing to see how well that goes, and they'll expand from there.
Yeah. So we recently, and I didn't know that we weren't part of this, but explain to me, we opened up so we get beta stuff within our Google Tools?
Well,
we get this. Okay, so we have now something in our Google Drive called Priority Drive.
Yes.
And so how did we get it?
We are on the rapid release schedule for Google stuff. However, this doesn't come in the rapid release schedule. This is like a beta we signed up for of a forthcoming feature to Google Drive that you have been experimenting with and are going to educate me on.
I am.
Priority Drive.
Okay, so last week, all of a sudden my drive looked different, which totally freaked me out because I had just taken screenshots. And I'm lucky, actually, that I did take screenshots because then I realized that this was something that was in beta and other people were not going to have seen it. But it's Priority Drive, and what it allows you to do is create workspaces. And so with a workspace, I use my starred a lot in my drive, and that's where a lot of my quick access to like different projects that I'm working on and stuff. I star all of the docs that go with that project. But with workspaces, it kind of allows you to create a folder of sorts, but you can see inside that folder, which is the workspace. So you can add all of the files and things. You can add, all of your Google tools except for Keep. I don't have the option to like put a Keep node into my workspace, but you can put your sites, you can put drawings, all of those things inside this workspace. And so it's just a quick access of all of those things. So it's kind of like a folder, yes, but you can set your priority drive to be like your homepage when you come into your drive. So they're all right there instead of like having to go into your start and picking which ones you need and having all of those tabs open. You can instead have all of them inside your workspace.
I feel like Keep might be a hard sell or a hard thing to do. That would be like putting an email in there because those things are all kind of like tied together in one platform. And I know they're separate and they're tagged and stuff, but it's kind of like,
but they have their own name and stuff. But
they don't like have their own like URL or anything, do they? Or do they? Maybe they do.
I don't think so. Probably not because you don't make those public.
Yeah.
They're not public for everyone to see. So you're probably right. But it would be super nice to be able to have a checklist in there too of like, that would be like the ultimate. So Google, because I know you're listening. Yeah. Also like a way to put my Google Keep in there. But I like it a lot.
The advantage of this over like a shared folder would be?
That it's just right there when you go in. Like with a folder, you'd have to click on it, I suppose, and it's just all right there, and you can pull in from different folders because sometimes, I don't know, the docs that I'm working on aren't necessarily all in a folder in the right spot.
Yeah.
And it's just a landing page, I guess, of sorts. But
I guess maybe a better question might be, how does this differentiate from team drives?
Oh, God, don't even get me started on team drives.
I feel like we're getting into kind of muddy water here, and maybe they're thinking team drives are terrible, and we should just change it with priority drive.
Yeah, but you can't share your workspaces with other people.
You can't share your workspace. Okay.
Not that I've seen,
but the documents themselves can be shared documents.
Yes. Yep, and you can pull them from your shared with me. So a lot of times I don't put stuff from shared with me into my drive because I don't really want it. The other thing with your workspace is you can remove those files out of your workspace like when you're done with them. So it does kind of become, like a checklist of sorts, I guess.
Okay. So priority drive.
Yeah, it's just a different workflow. I like it.
I'll add a link to the show notes of maybe another blog post or something that somebody else has done on this just to give people a feel for what that looks like because it's probably coming soon, although we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's in beta, so maybe it never comes at all.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, gosh. Now I'm sad.
That would upset
now
you.
I'm having anxiety.
Well, speaking of Google, we have one last update here.
Yes.
And when we both saw this, we both thought it was something else. But
yeah, we were more excited about it when we're
going to fill you in on what it says anyway. This was a tweet from Google for Education. They are excited to announce that you can now customize how classwork notifications appear in the stream in Google Classroom. This setting allows you to make either the classwork page or the stream the main hub of information.
Okay, so how we read it was that we were going to allow the classwork page to be the home page when you went to Google Classroom.
Yes.
We were wrong.
We were wrong.
That's what we were hoping for. That's not what actually happened. So instead, you can go into has to be new class. So not available in old classes. At least when I went into my old classes, I didn't have it. You can go in to your settings and allow...
It's basically...
You get to choose what goes in your stream.
Exactly,
now,
yeah.
Right? Instead of a whole mess. That stream page is so dumb. Google, stream page is dumb.
Yes, because I think right now everything goes in the stream, and
Right.
and with the classwork page, if you create something new in classwork, that goes in the stream as well. And so you have the option now of saying, I don't want the classwork stuff to go in
Right.
the stream. I just want my announcements to be in the stream because that's what I want the stream to be for.
Right.
And then you can hide all the other stuff, like when you create a new assignment or you create a new module or whatever you do in the classwork page, that doesn't have to show up in the stream anymore.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah, it is. It's better. It's not the best yet.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. All right, so on to our main course, served to you piping hot today, is probably our favorite. Oh, can you have a favorite? Is that like saying you have a favorite kid? I don't know. It's creativity.
Yes.
Our favorite kid, creativity?
I think it's one we've been looking forward to, let's say.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to choose a favourite.
Yeah.
Because they're all important.
Yeah.
C's.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to jump ahead because this is not what I put first on the agenda. But I have this graphic that I pulled from Twitter somewhere by Mandy. Is it Frolic?
Could be.
Okay. So from Mandy Frolic, and what she created, and I thought this was interesting because I hadn't really thought about the 4 C's this way. It's kind of like a Venn diagram with 3 different circles. Is it a Venn diagram still then? It is, right?
Yeah.
And each C has its own circle except for creativity, which is found in the intersection of those 3 circles. And I'm wondering, what do you think of this?
I had to look at this for a few minutes before I understood what I was looking at, I think. But yes, I can see that. It made me wonder whether you could put something like collaboration in the middle.
Right.
Or communication in the middle, because I think a lot of these could be interchangeable.
Right.
But yeah, I can see how creativity can be a pivotal part to all of those things.
Yeah.
It made me wonder about, like, you know, because some of like the intersection is like between communication and collaboration. What do we call that?
Nothing's labeled
There's
in there,
nothing
right?
in there. No, what is that part in there? And where maybe it would be a good thing to have, like, you think about an activity you're going to do with kids, and then you think, where on this kind of spectrum would it fall? Well, there's a bit of communication, there's a bit of collaboration, and, you know, you could place it on a continuum almost.
And I'm not putting it on there to say that I completely agree with it, because I think you're right. I think her way of showing that all of them go together, you know, and they all are interconnected.
Yes.
I view it more, I think, as the Olympic rings instead of just creativity in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of profound. I like it.
Oh, you've never said that to me before. But that they're all interconnected. And But then do you need to label how communication and collaboration? I don't know. It's interesting to me. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting graphic that I hadn't, because I think she just shared it at some conference she was at or something, and they used it as a Twitter chat conversation, I guess, is how I came across it. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
And it fits in with what we've been saying in the other episodes in this series, that, you know, this is related to this, and this C is related to that C. So definitely there are close ties. And it's a nice way of providing a visual. So we could put that in the show notes and let people take a look for themselves.
Take a look and see what they think. It'd be also interesting, maybe, just to, as long as we're talking about creating, is what kind of infographic would you create to describe, you know, the 4 C's? Like,
it's a nice little creative challenge there.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing, interesting thought. A couple other things that before we get started, I thought I would mention is, and this kind of comes up with the Twitter chat too, is I think someone posed the question, I can't remember who it was, posed the question about how do you get started with creativity? Because I think creativity kind of somewhere got lost at the implementation of standards, right? Creativity was maybe one of the first things that got tossed out.
So it gets tossed out after first grade, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then,
So
I'm only kidding. I didn't mean that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, I think it's the way to get started, or to get teachers getting started. And Beth and I had just talked about this a little bit yesterday, was I think creativity allows students you have to allow them a little bit of choice. So just finding one way every day to allow students to be creative. And it doesn't have to be a big production, right? I think a lot of times we think of creativity like, oh, we've got to get the paint out and we've got to, have some tape. And I don't think it has to be that way. I think, so one of the things that Amber often talks about are tasks that have a low floor and a high ceiling, so that everyone has the ability to engage in it, but it also allows you to extend yourself as you see fit. So finding those tasks that allow everyone to get engaged, but don't have a ceiling that someone's going to run into.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of a way to think about it. And so a lot of times I think that is too, allowing students just to have a little bit of choice.
Yeah.
It's a way to get started anyway.
I mean, it's not necessarily a creative exercise, but that low floor, high ceiling thing, I think about some of the things I used to do in math with my kids. I would say, like, okay, let's start with a number like 24. How can you create an expression or something that would equal 24.
Right.
And then, your lower kids can, if they want to do things like 23 plus 1, 25 take away 1, they can do that.
Tally 24 times.
Exactly. Yeah. And then your higher kids can be dividing and doing fractions and all the rest. It's just, it lets them self-differentiate and think about ways to, do things at their level. So, low ceiling. Not low ceiling.
Not low ceiling.
Low threshold, high ceiling.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yep. And then I had asked Amber, she has a couple flipboards that she's created around creativity, but when I was kind of looking through them, there was this blog post I came across called The 5 Amazing Exercises to Elevate Your Creative Thinking Powers. And I thought this was really interesting because the first thing that they mention is the magic of constraints. And I think this is interesting and maybe helps people become a little bit more comfortable with creativity, because there are so many unknowns sometimes when kids are allowed to create. But what a constraint is kind of narrowing what students can make, who they can make it for, and allows you or forces you maybe even to be more creative because you have even a time constraint, or, if you only give kids 10 minutes and they have to draft something to solve some sort of problem, allows them to just take their idea and go with it instead of ho-humming around different things. So I thought that was interesting. And then the other thing was about creative writing, which I really liked too, because it was a way to get kids kind of started about writing. And it was just about observing a person for a couple minutes and then writing their story about why they're doing what they're doing or what's going on with their mind. So I thought that was kind of an interesting blog post that we'll link into the show notes. But I thought it was kind of just some different things to think about that wouldn't be crazy to try in your classroom, but might be kind of fun.
So, yeah, I'll post something out from that same blog post. And,
okay.
At the beginning there, the author says, I've always desired to be a creative person.
Right.
And I think sometimes that's, that goes along with a lot of the C's. I think it can be a mindset thing. Some people think I'm not creative because they are not good at
They're
art.
not artistic, right?
Exactly, yes. So, I think that's definitely a valid thing as well. And it's kind of, everybody has creativity in them. You don't have to be a good artist or drawer or whatever to be creative. You can be creative in lots of different ways. You can be creative with numbers. I think about some of the things that Stacey does with spreadsheets and formulas and stuff like that. I think that's very creative. It's a creative solution to a problem, and she's using all these formulas and things to solve that problem. So creativity is something that you might hear from your students. I'm just not a very creative person. I look at other kids and think I compare yourself to them and all the rest. But it can be a mindset thing, and giving kids the ability to be open-minded to experiencing them.
Yeah, and I think that's a culture thing too, right? Is having, and we've talked about culture quite a few times this month about how important it is to have a supportive culture in your classroom that allows kids to be creative. But I think it's also about collaborating too. So you and I are probably creative in different ways. Amber and I are creative in different ways. And when we collaborate together, it allows even more interesting solutions to problems. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that graphic is right that Mandy created. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Creativity ties it all together.
The other thing the guy said, the author says in this is
Barry Dabrett, right?
Yes.
Barry Dabrett, is that, yeah.
Is that creativity is a skill you can learn. It's a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So you might have low creativity just because you haven't been exposed to it or have the opportunity to practice.
Flexed your creative muscles.
There you go. So as teachers, we need to provide that culture, that that environment for students in order to be creative. And sometimes that might just be, we think about when they're working on a project or something. I think we said this with the PBL type of thing, that giving students the ability to choose what the end product might look like. Yeah. Because I went to see... I saw Chris Lehman at a conference once, and he was talking about PBL, and he said, if you give kids a project and they come back with 30 of the exact same things, whether it's a PowerPoint or a video or whatever, then that's not really...
It's compliance.
Yeah, it's just compliance. There's no creativity in that, because they're just doing what you told them to do. You give them a very specific thing that you wanted as the outcome.
Right.
Blow that away. Have like a rubric that just covers, all the objectives that you want to do with your kids.
Show me that
that you can demonstrate this. And you can demonstrate that learning in whatever way you want, and you as a teacher can decide from there if they've met those objectives or not. So,
which goes into UDL too, right?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
So many things. So one of the ways that we at the digital learning team hopefully are supporting some of this creativity is through, of course, Amber's show, Think, Make, Innovate, which I assist on. It's totally Amber's brainchild and is amazing. But one of these, the next episode that's being released in March, can I talk about this? I don't know. Is it like super secret? I think it's okay. But is about these constraints again. So, one of the things that I think it's Solon Intermediate is use these design cards. I'm sorry. We have a set called Mockups. We don't think that they are available anymore. At least we can't find them. So there is something new called Extraordinaire cards. Have you seen these? We just got these. We just purchased them.
I have not seen these, no.
They're these constraint cards that choose your audience, choose what you should, not what you should make for them, but a problem that you need to solve. And then I think there's one more constraint. Oh, I probably should know off the top of my head, but I don't. But what I wanted was for us to have some sort of way to do this online. So I created a little Google site for digital design cards using Google Slides. And I used Gina Rogers' idea of a name chooser, because we've talked about that haven't we? The name chooser. Published the slide deck to the web and made the pause between the slides super, super short through the embed code. And then, and we can link this to the show notes, but there's a Meka. And so you hit the pause button. Oh, Amber added some stuff. So this one says make a wallet for a giraffe that will make them laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did we not do this at the 4Cs camp last summer?
We did.
Yes.
Yeah. So we created a digital one, so that teachers would have not have to pay for them. And I'm going to add a tutorial, though I'm not really sure I'm going to do that yet, but of how to make your own. So
I wasn't involved in the actual making of those things last summer, but I was recruited to model one of the
grumpy old man hat.
A grumpy old man who
was thirsty.
And there was a birdhouse on my head or something, wasn't there? A hat and a birdhouse and a grumpy old man or something. And yes, so there are pictures of that somewhere.
Yeah, so we created a digital one. The other thing that I was thinking about yesterday as I was kind of tossing this together was, if you're a little uncomfortable with doing something like this, you could choose two of the constraints for the kids. So it might be everybody's making a wallet, but who it's for would be different. So that... because I think you have to be comfortable as a teacher, too, a little bit with what's going on in your classroom. But it's just kind of something to think about, those constraints.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the ed tech stuff, though. We haven't really talked much about technology and creativity.
Yes, because these are the types of things that we talk about a lot, I guess. Right? I mean, I've got a couple of rolling presentations I give now and again, which is I've got an iPad creativity one, and I got a Chromebook creativity one, because we had the episode recently on Chromebook creativity and how people were generally not using Chromebooks for creative things outside of the Google Suite. So we've talked about some of these types of things before, but maybe just big picture, things you can do to be creative, or like we were talking about earlier, to give students choice on what that end product might look like. Yeah. There are lots of opportunities for being creative with technology. Yeah. So video things. Yeah. Definitely you're using, things like iMovie or WeVideo or those kind of video editors.
Quick is my favorite.
Quick is my favorite app in the world. Quick is kind of magic, isn't it?
I love it.
I know, because that's something I get asked a lot. It's like, I just want a way to quickly create a photo slideshow of all these, like they did things.
And make my parents cry.
Yes.
Because it's like all the music and yes. It's awesome.
So Quick is awesome for that. It's available for iOS and Android, maybe. I think it's available on Android. Sure. Yes.
Sure it is. Sure. I don't
know. You could do stop motion type of things. Yeah. Definitely good for digital storytelling, time lapses and science, movement in PE, things like that.
Yeah,
so
you
just want to show different ways of how things happen. So there's lots of good stop motion apps out there. There's less stop motion apps on the web, I think, but I'm thinking things like Brush Ninja could be an option in there, because that's kind of a stop motion tool.
We've mentioned Brush Ninja on here before, haven't we?
I think
we both have it one day, and I'm like, oh.
I think we did. We both picked it as a tech nugget, and I think we just kind of did it together. Yeah. But if you haven't checked out Brush Ninja on the web, go take a look at Brush Ninja for sure.
It allows you to create a GIF, but you could do it as
it's kind of like
the same sort of thing,
same
right?
Thing, yeah. You draw a frame at a time, don't you? Or something?
I hadn't made that connection, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Good one.
And GIFs are kind of like stop motion, aren't they? They're like still pictures that are put together to make an animated movie.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Get on board with that.
There's always green screen. Endlessly creative.
Green screen, yes, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked recently about that remove.bg that you can do on Chromebooks, and my daughter came back couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we've been using this website called RemoveBG. I'm like,
Have you seen anything that she created?
I have not seen it yet. She just said she was using it in class. So,
yeah, awesome.
The word is getting out there.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You can do that on any device, which is fun.
Yeah. Any of the Adobe stuff, right? I feel like we've talked about all of these tools a ton, but just a little refresher. All of that, the Adobe Spark Video, online or as an app, both fantastic.
Yes,
fantastic.
Definitely. Yeah. And even if your kids have, access to the Creative Cloud Suite, the Adobe stuff, they make a business out of building creative tools for people. So, middle, high school kids could definitely dive into those. Yeah.
And Canva's a good one. Although, I have a bone to pick with Canva, because don't you feel like there is less and less stuff in there that's free? Do you feel that or not? Is it just me? Am I just looking specifically for stuff and therefore I have to pay for it, which I'm not, but...
Yeah, I do feel like they are pushing my creativity. Yeah.
Because giving me constraints. Yes, lots of constraints.
I have to think of more creative ways to get around some of those things. And I get it. They have to make a living and stuff like that. Because there's a couple of things that bother me with Canva right now. Every time you download something from Canva on the web, you get this big pop-up that says, hey, do you want to try Canva for work for 30 days for free? And you say no, but you get it every single time.
Every single time. Can't click it off.
And the other thing is the Canva for iPad app now makes me sad, because it's not great. Just doesn't look like anything to do with Canva. It's just a completely different
I haven't used it for a long time. It used to look kind of like
Canva. It used to look exactly the same.
Okay.
And now it looks completely different. So
Canva, what are you doing to us?
Yes, Canva's still a good tool. And if you get annoyed by that stuff, go try Adobe Spark Post. Yes, I had to remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing that I would say, because I used Adobe Spark Post a lot for our 4C stuff, the nice thing about it is that you can change... And this was for my purpose. It might not be for anyone else's purpose, but you can use the same post and then change the ratios or the size of that for different social media things, which is nice. However, not always the same images are available.
Explain.
Yeah. So no, that's in Canva. That's in Canva. Okay. That's what makes me mad. Because Canva has more images, I feel like, than Adobe Spark Post does.
And I'll be honest and I'll say that most of the time when I'm looking for an image, I'll go to like Unsplash or Pixabay or somewhere first. I won't actually search much in Canva anymore. I'll just
that's because everything you have to pay for.
A lot of the things you do have to pay for.
It's frustrating. Mm-hmm. All right.
I feel like they should do a Canva for school. The other week, you shared Incredibox, which is a creative musical composition app, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was my tech nugget.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely one that could be a creative thing, as well as something like GarageBand or something. Yeah,
what's the Chrome one, though? I can't remember the name of that.
The Chrome one?
The Google one.
Oh, the Chrome Music Lab? Is that one?
It is.
Yes. Yeah, so that's kind of similar to Incredibox in some ways, just kind of drag and drop kind of stuff like that on there too. So, you can be creative with music and you can be creative with art. People think coding is creative.
Yes. Yeah. Coding is creative.
Coding is creative because you are creating something out of nothing, basically.
Yeah, right. And I think it's interesting because I don't know that I ever, really thought about coding as being creative and in the way that I do now anyway, until we started doing all the work with the Makey and Scratch. And then you start to really see the possibilities of, oh, this doesn't exist. I'm just going to create it myself.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about coding, I think, is having the ability to code or create something that you have a need for that doesn't exist yet. Mm-hmm. Or you can't get your hands on, of some sort. But
it's like the 21st century inventor, solving problems that exist. And maybe they're just problems for you, but you can solve them by coding something. I guess.
I think it's the opportunity to solve them, right? Or the confidence to be able to be like, oh, I could just create this.
Yeah. There's a podcaster I listened to, and one of the things he identified as something he had a problem with was Twitter. And he said it was a constant distraction for him during the day. Wow. So he thought, how could I solve this problem? And so he's a programmer. Yeah. He created an app he called Quitter.
Oh,
and it basically automatically killed Twitter on his Mac every time,
he wanted it to.
Think about going
use it
there.
as a shut off.
And he set times where it would just like not be available during these times when that app was running. So he found a problem. He coded a solution to it.
Yeah, nice.
So
I don't find Twitter distracting at all, but good for you, buddy.
But you're back. Are you back on the Twitters now, full time? What's going on, Mindy?
I don't know. You know what? This is it. So
I keep seeing things from you. It's like, I saw this on Twitter. Did anybody else?
And I think that's what's nice about having taken such a long hiatus from Twitter, minus just like going in and retweeting the team stuff or whatever. But it's a little refreshing to maybe find some new stuff that I haven't seen for a while.
People are sharing their creativity on Twitter, Mindy.
Yes,
I think
that's what I want. I want to go and see what I feel like. I need to go through and delete a lot of my edgy celebrities. Oh, I said it.
Oh, really?
I do. Mostly because I know they're there, so I don't need to hear about their next book.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to hear about your next book or your blog post or whatever. I'd rather, be seeing stuff that teachers are creating or those who are working in schools. And I feel like my Twitter feed is just full of the edgy celebrities that I probably followed, 3 years ago or whatever, 4 years ago. But it's hard to go back in and clean all that out, right?
So what you could do...
tell me my solution.
I don't know, as a possible solution, you could use lists. Have you ever used lists?
I do have lists.
Or you could just add people to a list and you could have teachers list and then you will only see tweets from those people. But
I know.
It takes
some time. I do have that in my... Because then I have that in my tweet deck, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
I put my list into my tweet deck. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we got off subject there.
We did get off subject.
I have a soapbox about Twitter.
Well, we could link to some of these slide decks or for resources and things because, we don't necessarily just want to throw tools at people because creativity is about more than just the tools like we've kind of talked about. But there's lots of potential for being more creative in the classroom.
Everybody can be creative. Up next, my favorite part of the show. Tech nuggets.
Tech Nuggets.
Tech Nuggets. Nuggety.
I think we have some creative nuggets on here. Creative nuggets today.
Creative. We do?
Yeah.
We do.
I think so.
Okay. You want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Oh, you feel like you've got a grand finale.
No, I don't feel like that at
Liar.
all. I feel like I went first last time.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. All right. So this Tech Nugget is brought to you by a few people. First of all, Michelle Armstrong, Jordan Poles, and most importantly, Gina Rogers, who shared it with our team. I don't know if you knew this, Wiley, because you are not much of a Snapchat user.
Correct.
Okay. So, and you're barely a Bitmoji user.
Correct.
Okay. So, for all you listeners out there, if you are Snapchat users and you're Bitmoji users, you can, in your Bitmoji keyboard, over on the right-hand side of your Bitmoji keyboard, there's like a, I think it looks like two like masks, like a drama mask, right? Mm-hmm. If you click on that, it will allow you to choose friends from your Snapchat.
Okay, I almost picked up my phone there. Then I thought, nope, I have no friends on Snapchat.
No. Yes. Okay, so it allows you to use it. So then if you choose a friend, so like if I choose Gina, it generates Bitmojis with Gina's Bitmoji and my Bitmoji.
Okay.
Okay. So it used to be that you could do this just in Snapchat, but now it's in the Bitmoji keyboard as well.
And the reason for that, I just found out recently, was that Snapchat owns Bitmoji.
Yeah, so you have to, I feel like if you go to create a Bitmoji account now, you have to have a Snapchat account.
Oh, okay.
It didn't used to be that way, but I feel like that's the case now.
Continue.
Yes, okay. So anyway, Gina came across this hack by Jordan Poles that allows you to take an image from your Bitmoji and an image link from your Bitmoji, like Chrome extension. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you choose an image and then the link from that image and put it in this Google Sheet that has formulas that I don't understand. I didn't even look at it. I have no idea. It pairs it with your friend's image and it generates a whole new link. You click on that link and it has all of the friend emojis.
Yes, it does.
Yes, and then you can right-click on them and put them in wherever you want.
Yeah.
So we're going to share a link to this blog post, and in this blog post, it allows you to create a sheet that has all these formulas already built in by Jordan Poles, and you can have all the fun in the world with the friend emojis.
It was fun, I have to say. I mean, Gina created one for our team and she put everybody's name on there and she said, just stick the link to your Bitmoji on there.
Right.
And then other people put the link to their Bitmoji on there. And I'm just going to say... It
generates a new link.
I'm just going to say, as the only male member of a team, it did produce some interesting Bitmoji.
HR issues, yes.
Mm-hmm. Some HR issues, yeah.
But luckily we're all grown-ups here and we can handle it.
Yes.
Yeah. But it would be kind of fun, too, like if you think about, like if you're a team, if you team with someone, you know, like if you've got a partner teacher, or if you're a coach and you know, have the teachers that you're working with, send them stickers with the two of you, or it's just kind of a fun, it's just kind of fun.
If you're co-presenting at a conference and you want your Bitmojis on there, I think that's a good idea.
And also to heckle one another, because that's fun, too.
Yes, there was definitely some that went back and forth by email.
Yeah, so that's friend emojis, not just for Snapchat users anymore. Boom.
Yeah. I don't know how to follow that, but I will follow that with an app that I've been exploring recently called Moteboat.
Moteboat. It rhymes. Yes. I like that.
Well, actually, I just read a blog post on how they came up with the name for Moteboat.
Okay.
And it kind of fits in with the creativity solutions we talked about, because they said, you know, they put some random names together, and a moat is a problem because it provides a barrier to something, and the boat is the solution.
Oh,
and they put the moat,
creative.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We should have come up with something creative like that for our podcast, but no, we didn't. Well,
Jeez.
Okay.
Keep going.
Moteboat is an AR/VR app for iOS or Android. And I'm going to describe it kind of like, it's like Minecraft meets The Sims. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's like a virtual world building place where you can build things, kind of like you might in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Not like with blocks per se, but by putting objects onto the screen to populate almost like a biome. You can choose like, a desert, savanna type thing, or you can choose a forest area.
More like co-spaces.
Similar to that then. Okay. But then you can put things into your world and you can control them like you are this god of the world. Okay.
Okay.
And the fun thing about it is that you control them with voice and you give them instructions.
Get out of town.
Yeah, so you press and hold the microphone button and it uses machine learning and natural language parsing stuff. So you can say bizarre things like, monkey, ride a unicycle. And the monkey will go over to the unicycle and it will ride it.
Do you have to have
around.
the unicycle already in your world, though? I mean, so you have to use the things that are in their world. It doesn't just magically appear.
It can magically appear.
Seriously?
You can say apples, and then they'll just like fall from the sky, and there'll be apples on the screen and stuff like this. And so, there's all kinds of random scenarios and things you can do. It's almost like a vocal kind of coding type of exercise because you're instructing people to do different things all around your world. You can do it collaboratively, so you can have two people in the same world on different devices working together. I think it's just like a really crazy, interesting, creative kind of environment to do things in. So you can do it in VR type of thing on the app where, say VR, but it's kind of virtual world type of deal. But you can also do it in AR, so you can put your world onto like a table or something. And move around and look close and things like that. And you can have command over your entire domain. I think it could be interesting for like ESL kids who are still practicing, their language and getting to know English and they're trying to make things happen. And if you don't say things in the right way, then the things won't happen.
Yeah.
But you will come across some constraints, like, you'll say something and it doesn't happen, but you can say things like cows float and the cows will all float in the air and things like that. Or you can say person, get in the car and drive around, and the person will get in the car and drive around. So
it'd be pretty cool to write a story and then have like trigger words.
Absolutely.
And have somebody watch your story as it
create this and have that as a visual representation of your story.
Right.
I think would be really interesting. Fun. So if you looked at what was available to you in the little palette of things to choose from, and then you made a story about that and acted out the story.
Yeah.
So it's one of those AR VR things that came via Jamie Donnelly and some of her stuff. But I think
is it free?
It is 100% free.
Free always?
No in-app purchases or anything.
No constraints at all?
Well, there's some constraints. I mean, you'll ask it for something and it will say, I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Hey, we can't do that. You have to pay $7.
Correct.
Nice. No financial constraints, I should have clarified.
So try it.
Moatboat, you win.
Moatboat, AR, VR.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun. You should try it once we get done.
Yeah. Okay. I will. I am at Team Carney on Twitter, and Jonathan is at Jonathan Wiley. Our team account is at DLGWAEA, and you can use our hashtag EdTechTakeout to tag the show. If you prefer, you can send us an email to podcast@gwaea.org.
I don't want to disappoint anyone, but we probably will not be back next week.
We won't be back till May. I need a vacation.
Yeah, we'll be back.
I'm just kidding.
We'll be back to our usually scheduled scenario of whenever we feel like it, I guess. Whenever we have time to fit one in.
So take that, listeners.
But we can say we have a guest coming on our next podcast, can't we?
Right. Marissa Dahl from Heartland AEA will be with us next time.
Yeah, we haven't had a guest for a while, so that's always less work for Mindy and I.
Yeah. Jeez, we worked hard this month.
So until next time.
This has been the EdTech Takeout. We hope it hit the spot.
For more information on today's episode, please visit dlgwaea.org/podcast.